Welcome to Meditation Mount. My name is Lindsay Pennington, and I serve as the Executive Director here at the Mount. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Oh, there's my voice. Those of you who are in person and also joining us online. And I also want to thank all of you who have donated to support us. Your generosity means so much. And it's truly how we can continue to do these, to hold our full moon meditations. It's such an important time for us to be all together, to use our energies in this potent full moon, especially now more than ever. I hear a little echo, so I'm just pausing. Okay. I did just want to remind everyone to turn their cell phones off if you haven't already, or turn them on silent. So we're going to start out our meditation with Kelly Jean, who's going to be bringing us into a field of resonance through sound and using the energies that Scorpio has to offer, since we are in the solar sign of Scorpio. And those energies move us from strife and war to overcoming conflict towards peace in the light of truth. So after Kelly plays her music, we'll be joined by Michael and Diana, who will continue our meditation. So thank you again, and I'll turn it over to Kelly.
As you could tell, it was in three parts. We had the gong, a harmonium, and the Tibetan bowl. And actually this corresponds, I was just thinking as you were playing, it corresponds to the three symbols of Scorpio. The personality, which would be the gong, is the scorpion. And then once you overcome the Scorpio nature and rise, you become the eagle. So the second symbol of Scorpio is eagle, which would be the harmonium, because it was above it. You could hear the notes floating. And then the bowl is the dove, which represents spirit, and the spirit of peace. So Scorpio has these three aspects, and depending on where you are, where you stand inside those three symbols, that's what the world looks like. And so we'll be exploring that in a moment. I just felt moved to say that, because thank you, that was beautiful, Kelly Jean, thank you. I always bring notes, and sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. There's a couple of quotes I want to use. But I think what I'd like to do to begin with is to say why we meditate at the full moon. This is sort of a disclaimer, but it's also a proclaimer. It's just we meditate at the full moon because the earth, the sun, and the moon are in alignment, because you've got the full light of the sun reflected in the moon, which means there's no shadow being cast on the earth. It means there's this alignment, once again, representing personality, soul, spirit, if you like. And I call it a spiritual line of sight. That's when you can see. And it's said that at the time of the full moon, the planet itself, because remember, the planet is a living being, it's also in meditation with its solar alignment. So it sort of lives within lives within lives. And so the reason we meditate at the full moon is because that is the time when the planet is in deepest alignment, and we can be in alignment with the heart of the planet. And we are in the fourth realm, or the fourth kingdom, as humans. That's how it's sort of in the esoteric sort of ranking. We're number 4, animals are 3, vegetation is 2, and the rocks are 1. It doesn't mean they're less worthy. It just means levels of consciousness present. And then the one above us is called the fifth kingdom, or the kingdom of soul. It's those graduates, it's the postgraduate human beings who have overcome the human strife and learnt the lessons, have graduated from the classroom, and are embodiments of love and wisdom. And sometimes people refer these to them as masters, saints. We're not talking about them as people, but as embodiments of qualities. And it is said that the fifth realm, or this realm of the soul, that's where we go when we graduate. We're not going anywhere else. It becomes our expanded field of awareness. I just wanted to mention that because it's a very potent time here at the full moon. And with the world as it is now, the more we can move from the scorpion, which in the end stings itself, to the dove via the eagle. I think let's go for the eagle. And remember, the eagle is the symbol of the United States of America. I say no more. So I'm going to say a few words about Scorpio, and because the lighting is a little dim in here, I'm going to use my glasses. As you would have gathered, Scorpio is ruled esoterically and exoterically by Mars, the so-called god of war. But in Scorpio and in the battle, we're not here to kill, we're here to overcome. There's a big distinction between killing and overcoming. And so the scorpion represents the cycle of violence and revenge. The eagle is where we are above that and are not swayed by that, and we're beginning to get perspective. And the dove is when we're centered in peace. And peace is not just the cessation of war. Peace is a state of being that sees everything as one. So we can be aided by Mars because it gives us the strength to face the trials and challenges of Scorpio. So Scorpio is said to be a potent constellation which influences the turning point both in the life of humanity as a whole and the individual. Note that, the turning point. I think we're at a pivotal time now. Its function at this time in our collective evolutionary development is to provide those points of crises and those moments of reorientation that lead us ever closer to the vision of spiritual liberation. So we're right inside the Scorpio. And also Scorpio represents humanity. We're ruled by Scorpio. So this is the one sign that really depicts the challenges that we're going through, and I'll list those in a moment. Scorpio in its lower nature, its immature and unskilled nature, has a motto attached to it. Let Maya flourish and deception rule. And then once we start operating out of the higher aspect of Scorpio, we get the motto, which represents the light of liberation that is the true Scorpio. Warrior I am, and from the battle I emerge triumphant. Once again, this battle isn't how many people you killed. It's about overcoming the desires that keep us, if you like, sucked in the mud. And we'll come back to that image in a moment, because it has to do with getting out of the mud and getting into the air. So the struggle in Scorpio can help us realize and then eventually overcome the inherent and inherited limitations in which we've been living. This allows us to establish right relations with our own inner life, the soul, with our fellow humans, our sisters and brothers, and with our environment, which I call the sacred ecosystem of Gaia. So here I'd like to quote from Esoteric Astrology by Alice Bailey, and then I'll say a few words about it. Scorpio is under the influence or inflowing energy of Sirius. Sirius is the 8-pointed star. Sirius is the star that's said to be the portal through which cosmic love enters our solar system. These are the major controlling influences whereby the cosmic Christ works upon the Christ principle in the solar system, in the planet, in the human, and in the lower forms of life expression. It is esoterically called the brilliant star of sensitivity. So I mentioned the word cosmic Christ. This has nothing to do with a person or a religion. This Christos name predates Christianity. It means the illumined consciousness when the divine masculine and the divine feminine consummate their communion. So I know it can trigger immediately religious connotations, but in this context, it simply means the light of love and the light of wisdom that comes out of the birth of the divine masculine and feminine, each of us, and in society, and also in the planet, because the planet also has divine masculine and divine feminine as part of its makeup. So I mentioned the three symbols of Scorpio, in Scorpio, which is the scorpion, the dove, and the eagle. The scorpion, eagle, and dove, if you're going to go in ascending order. And these represent the three aspects of life. They represent spirit, soul, personality, as I mentioned, but also they're referred to in the teachings as life, consciousness, and form. And those of you familiar with the Agni Yoga teachings recognize these as the fiery world, the subtle world, and the manifested world. So let's just dwell a moment on this lower aspect of Scorpio, because I believe it's that which is facing us and which we're being asked to overcome. This is Scorpio as the agent of deception. It's all about lies, basically. And it's reflected, let Maya flourish, let deception rule. And Maya would be a world filled with glamour and illusion. And in the teachings, it said that glamour is a distortion of the feeling or the astral plane. Illusion is a distortion of the mental plane. So take your pick. I think we've got both at play at the moment. So let's understand what it means, this light of liberation, and the motto, warrior I am, and from the battle I emerge triumphant. It's said that the soul, each of us has to face a lesson in the classroom. The classroom's set up in 12 different sub-classrooms called the zodiacal signs. So there's a test in each sign. And there's something called the labors of Hercules. if you've ever read Hercules and the Labors of Hercules and wondered what it really meant, Alice Bailey's got a brilliant book that helps unpack that. Basically, every sign is a test that we have to face as a soul to overcome something. And what we have to face in Scorpio is overcoming the Hydra. The Hydra is this 9-headed serpent that lives in the mud, lives in the ooze, and gets all its power from hiding out in this very slimy region of life. And then Hercules has to overcome it. So before I tell you how Hercules eventually overcomes it, well, in the story, we've yet to do it. These are what the 9 heads of the Hydra represent. 3 heads represent the tests of the physical plane: sex, physical comfort, and money. It's not saying it's good or bad, it's just so that we're not driven by any attachments or addictions. So sex, physical comfort, and money are the 3 heads of the physical. The 3 heads of the Hydra representing the astral or emotional plane are fear, hate, and ambition. And the 3 heads representing the tests of the mental plane or the mind are pride, separateness, and cruelty. I name these because these are not just concepts. This is what's happening all around us. And we can stand by shocked, as I am shocked by all the violence going on, and yet it's up to us to become the soul of humanity, to become the Herculean figure. I'm not talking about something, lots of muscles, I'm talking about with the power to overcome. So, here's the story. I kind of know this one by heart. I have Moon in Scorpio, Scorpio rising, so I feel it's alive in me. As they say, as the Marx brothers said, I resemble that remark. So Hercules has to approach the Hydra, and the Hydra is sort of submerged in the mud, in the ooze. And when you think of mud, it's a lot of water and earth. It represents the physical plane flooded with emotions. If he goes in, dives in, and tries to mud wrestle the Hydra, it's not going to work. He's going to get sucked under. Now, if he pulls out a sword and cuts off the head of the Hydra, it sprouts 2 more. So there's no way out of this. You can't mud wrestle, you can't cut off the heads. The only way that we're told for Hercules, and Hercules, as I said, represents the soul of humanity, represents us, is to kneel. Go down on one knee, which is the symbol of humility. And humility in the Ageless Wisdom teaching is called an adjusted sense of right proportion. That means you don't aggrandize yourself, you don't diminish yourself. It's that sweet spot of your own sovereignty. And so he kneels and gets hold of the Hydra and then lifts and stands and raises the Hydra up into the light of the pure air, the light of day, the light of truth. And when the Hydra is lifted into the rarefied air of the Buddhic plane, it loses its power. It no longer has power. It has power from the mud, but not in the air. And I guess that's what we're being asked to do, is how to lift, not to run away, not to ignore it, but how to lift it, redeem it through our own act. I think we can all draw our own conclusions of what that means for us. But when I look at the state of the world at the moment, I would say we are mud wrestling. We're trying to cut off the head of the Hydra. We don't understand its humility, its respect, its compassion, its love. That's how we break the cycle of scorpion, of revenge. So there's a few personal opinions thrown in here, although I usually keep it very neutral. So this is the slippery serpent of desire. The hydra is called the serpent of desire. There's nothing wrong with desires because they feed us. But when they take over and control us, then we are not in control and don't make choices. The addiction makes the choice for us. So the reason I'm emphasizing this is not just because what's happening in the Middle East and all around the world, but because this is what we're facing as a humanity. This is what each of us is facing, I believe, this test of how to live the life of a soul-infused personality. And it's up to each of us to find the way. I can't give a prescription. Nobody can give a prescription. The only prescription I can give is be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to all beings. But I've got to do that myself, so it's not just words, I've got to live it. So we're being invited to raise ourselves and live the eagle and eventually live the dove. So this is what's called facing the dweller on the threshold. So I would say collectively, humanity is facing the dweller on the threshold, which simply means all the accumulations of the unloved, unredeemed, and harmful aspects that we haven't faced yet. Chickens are coming home to roost. These are karmic chickens. And they have to be faced. You can't go through the doorway. It's blocked by this dweller. This dweller is nothing less than our own self and our own creation. So once we've raised it in the air and it's lost its power, we can go through the door. So these are powerful signs. Here's a quote, once again from Alice Bailey's writing, but it's a question, because it says here, under this sign, a focus on desire and emotional responses only further deters from the light, embedding one further in the darkness of uninspired matter. That would be the mud. Thus the questions arise. And this is really, this is written, 80 years ago, and it's really relevant. Will the world Hercules, i.e. the soul of humanity, elevate the hydra of passion and hate, of greed and aggression, of selfishness and ambition up into the region of the soul, or will it carry the whole matter down onto the physical plane with the inevitable corollary of world disaster, world war, and death? I'm not intentionally painting a dark picture. We've created things, and the darkness is there to be redeemed by our own actions. I think that's really how we hold things at Meditation Mount. So the light at the end of the tunnel is the soul calling to us to rise from the scorpion to the eagle and onto the dove. So I think you get a feel of what this is about. I know it's been a testing time these past few months for me. I'm not sure about you, if you've come face to face with things in your life that you've, finally caught up with you. Yeah, here's your ticket. You've got to face this in order to get to the next step. So that's what we're carrying here. So it isn't as though we're carrying this huge weight, although there is a heaviness to the darkness, but we have the key to lighten it by increasing the frequency of our being, which we do through loving kindness and through awareness. So holding these thoughts and feelings in our mind, I'm going to pass over to Diana now to lead the meditation. Can you lift it a little?
Yeah.
Hopefully I haven't just... But that's what we're facing. So let's not pull any punches. That's a very bad, isn't it? Who wants to pull punch? No. Let's not punch. Let's be honest. Let's see things in the light of day. So once again, it goes back to the words we use, the phrases. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Diana, I'm done.
Okay, karmic chickens. That's my favorite line from you. Coming home to roost. That's a good way to talk about this. I'm going to just say some words before we go into the meditation, because it is so intense. In our lives and everywhere that we look, anywhere that we look, the intensity is increasing, and there's a saying that says, if something keeps showing up in your life that you don't like, it just means you're not done with it yet. you know? And we're getting called upon to raise our frequency, to raise our awareness, to raise our consciousness, and be of assistance to this midwifing, I call it right now, of this new world. And so we're having this polarity, as you all know. And one of the things I took from what you wrote in the invitation to this, and you said it again, but I want to reemphasize it. You said, the struggle in Scorpio helps us to realize and eventually overcome the inherent, and I love this, the inherited limitations in which we have been living. You know, the inherent and inherited. I never put those two words together, but I like that because of family and lineage and my people and our people against your people and, you know, all that happens is a limitation because we're a one life. We really are. And as you meditate, you begin to know that. It's not a thing you think. It's a thing you are. It's a thing you know. It's what it is. It's not a question anymore. But on the way, you know, as we crawl along on the ground as the scorpion, you know, it all seems pretty muddy down there. And it feels very justified to sting anything in sight, you know. So here we are, you know, in this world. But I really believe in my work, and I do counseling and spiritual counseling. And I always say, the first thing I say is there's a gift in the wound, right? And here we are at our wound. We're bleeding, you know, as a world, but there's a gift in it. And in that process of discovery, it's very uncomfortable and almost repulsive to face ourself because peace begins with me. And where I don't forgive myself and where I don't forgive you, you know, then I'm the same as everything I see. And so the work is that practice of love, you know, in action and higher positioning to not get caught in the mud, to not get caught in the battle with the Hydra. We have to redeem the matter. We say that in esoterics, we redeem the matter. And so the thing that we hate about ourselves the most is hiding a diamond within it. And that's a whole teaching in its own right. I was looking up the word dross today. I was saying, what does that word mean exactly? And I looked it up. I like alchemy a lot. And I'm always reading about alchemy and alchemizing. And dross is, of course, from alchemy. But it basically has to do with burning, heating metal, right? Smelting that's what it's called. And the dross, or it's also called the dregs, is what's left, the not redeemed material. Well, to get the dross off, you have to heat it up really hot, right? You have to burn it, and we're in the burning. We're in the burning. And we get to be here. I really do feel that we are all called to this time and space. I call myself personally drafted. I was drafted, like now, everybody on earth, get to work, pay attention, do your part, do your piece, you know.
May I just add one thing? Yes. Because when you said dross, I went, oh, right, because I didn't read it because it was getting too long. But my definition of dross is the recalcitrant residue of deeply imprinted patterns of behaviors and beliefs.
Inherent and inherited.
Inherent and inherited. So
nice. Exactly. And so Scorpio is also, you know, we're all this sort of negative Scorpio, but Scorpio is also the path of the disciple, right? And I always call the word, I rephrase it to say that discipline, the word discipline, which is a very scorpionic word, comes from discipling, to be in service to something greater than ourselves. You know, to use that discipline, and we always want to reject discipline because it's hard. But, you know, it's hard not having it too. It doesn't matter, you know, it's sort of hard either way, so you might as well reach up. And that's where I think we are right now, is we get to reach up. We're having I've got the chart here, but you know, we're in solar Scorpio, which is what we're talking about here, but we're in the full moon of Taurus. And so in the esoteric teaching and astrological teachings, what that means is that the concretization, right, of the things that we began at the beginning of the year, our intentions for the new year at the solstice, at winter solstice in the new year, are in the fall ground and come into form, and so we can see what we're making, and so it's good to look at your own life to see what you're making and see what we're making. And there's a lot being made and unmade right now. So even though this is a time of sort of the crucible, which is another alchemical word, it's where the heat happens, this is a time to possibly find the diamond in the wound also. And so when we move into the meditation, we were talking earlier and we were saying, yeah, but what do I do? What can I do, right? What can I do right now? And I would say, and that's what I'm going to pull maybe into this meditation, is what we can do is to heal our own hatred, our own self-loathing, our own anger, our own unpeace. And that is the work of the moment. And you can't really help anybody till you've done that, or you're in practice of doing that, yourself. It's not something you just, I have no hate, I have no judgment, I have, we do, we're human. We're in the mud, no mud, no lotus though. And so that lift is coming from the gift that's in the wound. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start us like this in the meditation, is bring in the idea of literally, and I want you to think of this as you settle yourself in for the meditation, the idea of calling in the angel of peace. And think of it as an angel, like an archangel, like an angel that is 100 feet tall, to call into this space, into this room, into yourselves and into our group and into everybody that's listening with us, to call in the angel of peace, Om. And just feel it already changing the energy of the space and all the concerns of the day and the worries of our mind and our confusions that are occurring. And I'm going to call into the angel of peace, call in the angel of peace, and I'm going to read this beautiful prayer that I love. It's a Tibetan Buddhist prayer. And so our work begins. So hear this like you're saying it yourself. If I have harmed anyone in any way, either knowingly or unknowingly, through my own confusions, I ask their forgiveness. If anyone has harmed me in any way, either knowingly or unknowingly, through their own confusions, I forgive them. And if there is a situation I am not yet ready to forgive, I forgive myself for that. For all the ways that I harm myself, negate myself, doubt myself, belittle myself, judge or be unkind to myself through my own confusions, I forgive myself. I call in the angel of peace. We call in the angel of peace. As a force, as a vibration, as an awareness. Peace begins with me. Peace begins with me. Om. Peace begins with me. Om. Peace begins with me. Om. And you hold this energy, let it in, receive it, this angel of peace energy. Let yourself register it as an experience, as a quality, as a part of you, as a breath, As you balance the bodies, bringing yourself into this time and space more and more and more and more and more and more present. Balancing the physical body, balancing the emotional body. We've been in shock. Balancing the emotional body. Balancing the mental body. The scorpion, the eagle, the dove. And feel the crown chakra open. Feeling your feet on the ground, connecting to the mother of the world. Feeling that groundedness as we're on the top of a mountain here at Meditation Mount. With the crown open, receptive to soul, receptive to spirit, receptive to the masters and teachers, receptive to the divine wisdom, receptive to divine and pure love, all the way from here to Sirius. And you feel your alignment through your own spine, through your own consciousness. And you link with the soul now. I and the soul are one. Sensing the angel of peace. The power, can you sense the power of the angel of peace? In some moments, we'll move into the silence. And we'll be in that silence for some time, 10 minutes or so. And the phrase I want to use for it tonight as our seed thought. And the idea of cultivation, and practice. It's a simple one tonight. Inner peace. Inner peace. Peace begins with me. Inner peace. inner peace. I am peace. I am peace. Om. I am peace. Om. I am peace. Om. This is embodiment. Peace begins with me. Feel it as an experience. Memorize it into your body being. I know what this feels like now. I am peace. This becomes then a reference point. That all we have to do is remember that it's there. Guided by the angel of peace. That's in this space. That's in this group. That's in our hearts. That we are. We are peace. And so we can breathe peace out and breathe peace in and breathe peace out and breathe peace in. As within, so without. As above, so below. As within, so without. And you take ownership and responsibility. I am peace. Peace begins with me. And as you use your breath to organize this as part of yourself, just remembering this decision, this peace, this abiding peace, the Dalai Lama said when I saw him last. He said this phrase over and over. He said it 100 times. The abiding peace that is always there. The abiding peace that is always there. The abiding peace that is always there. The abiding peace that is here, now. Breathe that in, breathe that out. Become one with this vibration of peace. I'll close with the great invocation. If you know it, you can say it with me or in your heart. Just listen along. This anchors it, seals the deal. From the point of light, within the mind of God, let light stream forth into all human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love, within the heart of God, let love stream forth into all human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the human race. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. We're 3 ohms now. Take a breath, inhale.
Let's stay in this space, understanding Scorpio as the light of liberation. And we will send out from the mount in 3 waves blessings to dispel the clouds, to dispel the Maya, to dispel the illusions so that we may see clearly through the eyes of the heart the truth of who we are. We are one, we are love, we are peace. And these 3 waves, we're going to be send out the energy of the 3 principles that we work with here at Meditation Mount. I'll just name them first, and then we'll do the 3 waves. The principle of essential divinity that says the spark of the Creator lives inside every single being. So all our sisters and brothers, including ourselves, are sacred, are to be respected, honored, and celebrated. The principle of goodwill, which affirms that love is the currency of human relationship. And it's the cohesive force, the glue that holds all of humanity together. And the 3rd principle we'll be working with is unanimity, the affirmation that there is one life. We are the many parts of the one life. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, having pervaded the universe with a fragment of myself, yet I remain, the one and the many. So we're going to take a breath. I will sound the Tibetan bowl, and as I sound it, this first wave that goes out is a wave that affirms the essential divinity of all beings and sees us respecting, honoring, and celebrating all members of the human family, all beings who dwell upon this planet. So let us breathe in, and let us breathe out this blessing and see it circulating around the world. And the second wave is a wave of love, of goodwill. And we see it circulating and opening all human hearts that we may both give and receive love. We send our 3rd wave, our 3rd blessing into the world from Meditation Mount and from wherever you are online on this broadcast. The principle of unanimity. We affirm there is one life and we are it. And let's take a few moments just to register the enormity of these times, not simply the heaviness, but include the pain that's present in the world, but also the fiery hope that is present as we rise from the scorpion to become the eagle and then embrace the dove, the spirit of peace. Let that realization be anchored and imprinted in the very blood and bones of our being, the very DNA that we carry with us. May peace prevail on earth. And thank you everyone for being here, for those of you joining us online, but those of you here in the auditorium. These are powerful times, and yet we are powerful. We are a powerful force for good when we show up as peace. So namaste, blessings for everyone, and thank you for being here and participating in this act of service. Thank you.